we are going to take a look at the last couple word problems here. So this first one here, the height of h above meters of water at a stone thrown off a bridge is modeled by this equation where t is time in seconds. What is the initial height from which the stone is thrown? Well, that would be at time equals 0. So if we plug in 0, 15 times 0 plus 20 minus 4.9 times 0 squared, and see, this is 0, 0, so that equals 20 meters. What is the maximum height? Well, we know maximum refers to the vertex. Well, how do we find our vertex? Well, it's the opposite of b over 2a. So if we look at our problem, you just have to be careful because it's not in the usual order. So this is a, b, and c. So we have negative 15 over 2 times negative 4.9. And when you type that into your calculator here, be careful. So we have negative 15 over 2 times negative 4.9. You need to make sure that 4.9 is in the denominator. So we have 1.5. But again, this is our x value, which is the seconds. And we have to find the height, so we have to plug it in to our equation. So 15 times 1.5 plus 20 minus 4.9 times 1.5 squared. So we have 15 times, I'll just use that answer, and I already forgot what it was, plus 20 minus 4.9 times our answer squared. So we have 31.5. So this would be 31.5 meters. Now this next one here, for what length of time is it greater than 20? So we're concerned about when does 20 equal 15, I'm going to switch this to an x, plus 20 minus 4.9 t squared. Well, we have to set it equal to 0. So we have when does 0 equal, and I'll write it in the with the ax squared minus 4.9 x squared plus 15x. So a variety of ways we could do this. We could solve by factoring. So we could pull out an x and then set each part to equal to 0. So x equals 0, or when does negative 4.9x plus 15 equals 0? And if we solve that, let's see, subtract 15. So what is 15? Negative 15 divided by negative 4.9. So we get 3.06. So here are our two times. So to find the total, it starts at 20 and it falls back at 3.06. So 3.06 seconds minus 0 is 3.06 seconds. You could also do the quadratic equation here with here's your a value, b, and we could let c equal 0. How long does it take for the stone to hit the water below the bridge? So we want to know when it hits the height of 0. So when does 0 equal negative 4.9 x squared plus 15x plus 20? Well, this is when I would use the quadratic equation. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times negative 4.9. And when you do this, you should get two equations. X equals negative 1 and x equals 4.06. And while we can't have a negative time, so it would be 4.06 seconds. Now this last word problem we're going to take a look at here is this bottom one here. The length of a rectangle is 5 more than 3 times the width. So here's our width. How do we say 5 more than 3 times? Well, 3 times our width plus 5, and it equals 1428. So we can set it up our area formula. Length times width equals 1428. So we have 3x squared plus 5x. And then I'm going to set it equal to 0. Minus 1428 equals 0. And again, this is another one where you can do that quadratic equation on. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 times 3 times 1428, negative 1428, all over 2a. And if you do this one, you should get two answers as well. You end up with 21, and then you end up with a negative number. Negative 136 over 6. Well, we can't have negative, so we know our answer. Our x is 21, so then we have to figure out this other one. So 21 times 3 is 63 plus 5 is 68. So our dimensions would be 21 by 68.